Hello and welcome to the Questionable Album Club, the podcast where this beautiful panel of music fans attempts to blow the dust off some of rock's curios, failures, and generally perceived missteps. On the panel today, we have Ross English. Hello, Ross.
Good evening, everybody.
We've got Simon Ward.
Good evening.
We've got Steve Hackett.
Hi there.
And we've got Steve Gibson.
Good evening.
Today's record chosen by Ross is yeah, I know. I'm going to talk about the record. So, okay, well, let's go straight into the top 10. Thanks for the subtle nod, guys.
Yes, please.
Steve, it's your turn to read it, if that's okay. I'm just going to give it. Here's our top 10 of our albums on this podcast. Steve?
Number 10 is Joni Mitchell, Dog Eat Dog. Number 9 is the amazing Motorhead with the Manticore tapes. Number 8 is the awful Grinder Man with whatever that was. Number 7 is a shit Slayer album. Number 6 is the Van Halen one no one listens to. Number 5 is when the Rolling Stones tried to be the Beatles. Number 4 is the absolutely amazing Drama by Yes. Number 3 is a Doors album. Number 2, whatever. Number 1 is Rick Wakeman, The Six Wives of Henry VIII.
That's very good, mate. Very good. It's very good. Very succinct. So that's the top 10 that we're all kind of trying to get onto with all this sort of stuff. Ross, your choice was a Clash album, the sixth and final album by The Clash, released in November 1985, called Cut the Crap, which actually charted number 16 in the UK. It was the sort of I don't know where to start with this, really. It was produced by Bernie Rhodes, he prefers to be called Bernard Rhodes, who was their long-term manager. He was kind of an architect in the whole founding of punk, and it was he had complete creative control. It was basically made with him and Joe Strummer because Mick Jones, the guitar player who'd written all the music, had been kicked out, as had Topper Headon, who was a junkie. Paul Simonon was still in the band, but was frozen out of this project. So really, it's a kind of Bernie Rhodes and Joe Strummer, record. But it is officially a Clash record, and I think that's a bit of a description. Ross, why did you choose this?
I've been thinking about this one for a while. I like the Clash. They are a band I will reach for to put on. I think they've made two solid gold LPs in London Calling and the Clash, and I think the other three albums, leaving this one to the side for the moment, have all things going for them. And I'd never listened to this. So I was thinking about this in these days of Spotify. When you like a band and there's an album you haven't listened to, it's actually quite an odd thing. But it wasn't back in the day, because you'd have bought the LPs. And if you weren't tempted to go and buy the other LP, you wouldn't get around to listening to it unless someone else had it and was going to tape it for you. And I never think I knew anyone who had it. But it's also because the speed in which Joe Strummer disowned this was really was odd, in terms of, like, it came out and then he said this is terrible, and it almost sort of got forgotten. So I've never got around to digging to actually listening to it, and I thought it would just be a really good opportunity to revisit it. My only reluctance, as I said last time, was it had such a bad reputation. I was a bit worried this being a bit of a lamb to the slaughter, but you never know. So I thought it would be an interesting opportunity to have listened to it. And that's why.
Yeah, it fits our remit, doesn't it? Perfectly. And apparently, I read that apparently Joe Strummer, he disowned it as he read a couple of reviews. He just it was like, just scan the papers, right? I'm out. And just Steve Hackett, you're obviously old enough to be into this the first time round. Did you buy this when it came out?
Not this one, no. I mean, I was a Clash fan. My sort of age group, again, we sort of came to these punk bands, in the second album or the third album.
Which albums did you buy? Did you buy albums in real time by the Clash?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, well, I bought Give Enough Rope when it came out, so it was all second albums for me. So I was about 13 when the first wave of these albums came out with all of those bands. Bought Give Enough Rope, which it wasn't a brilliant Clash album by any means, and I sort of dismissed them. They weren't my favourite band at the time. London Calling, which is a classic. It's an absolutely brilliant album. I was really, really fortunate enough to see them on that tour in Leeds. They called it the 16 Tons Tour, and they were absolutely magnificent. They were really, really great. Loved them. And then what was after that? So was that Sandinista after that? Straight
Sandinista, the triple album, then Combat Rock, which was massive in America. And then,
But so I saw them then, moved to London. I lived opposite the Brixton Academy. I bought tickets to see them in really early in '84, when Jones was like, he was still in the band. And then as soon as I bought the ticket, spent my £4.50 or whatever it was those days, they sacked him. For which I always thought was a bit weird at the time. They sacked him, and the excuse was he was too rockist, which sort of, given Strummer's general stance and lyrics, is a bit strange to say the least. So I remember going to the Brixton Academy, I think it was January, and everyone was thinking, what the fuck, there's no Mick Jones, no one knew what to expect, and what have you, and Strummer had his Mohican thing at the time, and they were absolutely brilliant. They were really, really great. They drafted about 3 new guys in, who I presume play on this record, or the 2 guitarists that they had, and the drummer. But it's a drum machine, isn't it? I think
it's a drum machine.
Yeah. So they were absolutely brilliant, and they basically did a Clash's greatest hits, and with about 3 or 4 tracks that no one had heard, which turned out to be from this album, sort of a year or so before it was released. And the track sounded absolutely brilliant live at the time, because there was no, sort of pawn shop samples or drum machines on them. And so and all these terrace chants and everything. So, thinking, wow, this sounds all right. Good, maybe not as bad as I thought. Saw them later that year at something that was called the Arthur Scargill's birthday party, which was one of those Cole Not Dole gigs. And again, they were fantastic, same sort of set. And then this album came out, I think, 85, is it, this one?
November 85, yeah.
Right, okay.
And so, it was, as you say, but it had the songs that you love, Steve, but with this sort of 80s synth pop vibe, major keys, drum machines, gang vocals.
Yeah.
Steve, we're going to hold you there. Simon, synth pop, gang vocals, major keys, drum machines. That's what you're the person I think of when I say those words. What did you think of this?
Do you want the straight to cut the crap or the Clash background?
Just get on with it. We've had quite a lot of Clash background with Hackett, so just get on with it.
Okay, fine. I'm just very briefly, the one sentence Clash background is, I've never been a Clash fan. Obviously, London Calling is a good song. I think for me, they're the sort of oasis of punk.
Oh,
where most of their records, most of their output is just a poor pastiche of the records that they like. I think they were at their best when they were the reggae influenced stuff. So Bank Robber and Guns of Brixton and that sort of thing. And the Police and Thieves. I've sort of wanted to like them for a while, and I tried again. I'd never actually gone back over and listened to them properly. I'd only ever really listened to the singles compilation. We used to have that at work because I was too late for the Clash. Punk was already over by the time I started buying alternative music, and there was far too much exciting going on. And by that time, the Damned were putting out Phantasmagoria. Pill had turned into a pop band. Big Audio Dynamite were the remnants of the Clash. They didn't seem much worth going to investigate, to be honest. So it's been, thank you, Ross. This has been a great opportunity to finally go and figure out what I think about the Clash. And what I think about the Clash is that if you really try hard, the first album's quite good. Everything else is pretty relentlessly bad. London Calling could have been a 12-inch EP. Sandinista could have been a 7-inch single. And what's the last one? Combat Rock. I like Know Your Rights. And I like Should I Stay or Should I Go? Because, it's a good song. This album, I don't know where to start. It's
Simon, that's a nice little ramp up. Let's stop there. Let's pause there. Gibson, I'm very interested in you today because, of course, you play drums in a punk covers band. And I'm right in thinking that the guitar player, the guy who chooses the songs, is a massive, massive Clash fan. So you play quite a lot
No,
of Clash stuff.
they all choose the songs except for me because I've got no skin in the game with it really. They're just it's a very light workload, the odd gig, and they're nice guys. So
But
that's.
there's a lot of
But
Clash stuff, right?
well, what's I was going to say was what surprised me was they gave me some Clash songs to learn. I've never been into them, and I've never been interested by them or really. And I was thinking, well, my initial thought when they gave me the songs was like, well, arrogantly, I've never heard of these, so these aren't going to go down very well. But when we go around and we play to all the old punks, the Clash are the soul of punk. They are revered. You can play anything by the Clash, and it goes down an absolute storm from here to wherever we play. I don't really get it. I wasn't there. I don't know. So they all seem like I would kind of agree with Simon a bit on everything I heard them do is a bit of a pastiche of stuff they like. Um, but so it's been a surprise to me. Then this album, I I was quite surprised to put it on because when you've anyone who plays who's done covers in any sort of thing, or whenever you play someone else's music, you get more of an in-depth, a different angle on it and more of a feeling for it. So I put this album on, and it's like bumping into an old childhood friend from primary school who's either stacked on weight, lost a lot of weight, or whatever. You can see it in there. You can see them in there somewhere, but there's all this bloat around it, and life's happened, and they've gone bold or whatever that whatever. They're probably thinking that about me. I'm not. That's what it's like. I was just thinking the amount of times I thought, oh, here we go, it's the Clash, and then I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the creative and sort of production decisions on this album are very, very, very strange. And I think to that point, it's one of the weirdest albums we've had on here, to be honest.
I
Really is one of the strangest albums we've had on here.
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. It's so weird. It's just so I don't even know how I feel about it. I'm hoping to kind of to sort of come to some sort of like congeal into some sort of the weird thing for me, right? I've been listening to it on headphones all day, but it sounds completely different through air. Unbelievably, all I can say is don't listen to it on headphones. Just do not listen to it on headphones.
Uh,
Steve, before you move on, do you play any songs from this in the band?
Oh God, no! This album is completely. I did. We actually had a very very rare rehearsal the other day, and I said, "Oh, I listened to Cut the Crap," and it was just like they've all just started laughing, and this sort of it's really yeah. It's almost one of those albums where you kind of feel because we've all got favorite artists that we dearly love that have done crazy things, and it can you don't want to admit it, but it's like a knife in the heart sometimes. So I do feel sorry. I have empathy for big Clash fans and the punk. I mean, when they came out of this, it must have been what the hell is going on? So no wonder it's not listed. No wonder no one talks about it. It's brushed under the carpet and let's put London Calling on again. So
Yeah. You've seen that like it doesn't appear in any of the documentaries, any of the best ofs. It's
the funny thing
completely.
was, though, I did see an interview before this album came out. I saw an interview with Strummer saying music's got too bloated. We're going to take it back to just, guitar, bass, drums. But punk's gone. And then they come out with this. I mean, what? What happened?
But well, you know that Mick Jones used to write all the music, right? He
Yeah,
wrote all the music. So I
yeah,
think they just thought, well, apparently they did think, Bernie Rhodes and Strummer just thought, well, how hard can writing punk
yeah,
songs be? And this is and well, here we
yeah.
are. Here
Bit
we
more
are.
difficult than they thought, obviously. Yeah.
Ross, what was your as a bit of a Clash fan, when you turned this on and heard all the kind of all the synth popping, were you kind of like, all right, did you pull your trousers down?
I've been for a bit of a journey with this because when I first put it on, I thought it was the worst thing I'd ever heard. Actually, that's what I spent first of all, and I'm not joking. Literally, I played it first time on this laptop I'm looking at, and I was going through all the tabs on my browser to work out where the advert that must be playing in the background is because there was stuff going on, and it was eventually after I closed everything down, I realized no, that's actually on the record. Um, I've mellowed with it. I have mellowed with this. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever listened to now. What I think is, I think it's the most badly produced thing I've ever listened to. It's like the producer was a 7-year-old who's just had too much sugar. Is he turning to the engineer and said, "I want to put some more stuff on this track. What we got? What we got?" And it's, there's the keyboards, there's the trumpets, there's the talking in the background, there's the electronic drums. Oh, here's a chorus. Let's get some people to shout on it. And it's just, I don't understand what the thought process was, if there was any process at all, about what the hell was he doing with these songs? Or
Well, Ross,
did they
Ross,
have, yeah.
Ross, I think it's quite simple, right? Is that when you say talking in the background, it's talking in the foreground. The talking is louder than the
Oh,
music,
yeah,
a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
later. And but I think Bernie Rhodes had never produced a record before, so he's a bit of a legend. He's like, oh, I could do this, I could do this. How hard can it be? And it's really hard to produce a record. And at the same time, you've got all this 80s technology, sequencers, and and so 80s technology plus a man who's never produced a record before, plus the guy who writes all the music, and Strummer just trying to sort of yell over the top of it, trying to be authentic punk. That's what's happened, right?
Yeah, but but you can get a guitar and stick it through some new program you've got, and you're laying every effect on it because it's all funky. There comes a point where you can actually listen to what you're doing and thinking, now that was all right, but I need to step back now and actually make this make some sense. I mean,
But you have to remember the 80s. The 80s was such a radical shift in sonic texture. I mean, we've had this with Joni Mitchell. We've had this with so many. We have a lot of what we do on this pod, right, is like great 60s and 70s artists hit the 80s, and we spend an hour going, oh my God, what the fuck's that all about? But I think Ross, you mentioned the guitars. Did you notice the guitars? They're not using amplifiers. The guitars go straight into the fucking desk. Can anyone else hear that? It's like, oh my God. The guitar sounds are literally the worst.
So I don't know if these songs are any good. I think you sort of said this, Seb. I have no idea if these songs were any good. Because I can't make head nor tail of what they were during in the first time. I mean, it's this. I think you're right. I mean, I think there is a certain, when you've been in the sort of music business for a while, you think, I can do this. It's like the Teardrop Explodes second LP, when Julian Cope is too busy taking acid every day, and Dave Balch says, I can do this. It's I don't know. There needs, I don't know. It's overblown. It's full of itself, and I can't make head nor tail of it.
Yeah.
I think that my take on this is slightly different. I think the elephant in the room with this album is the fact that when Mick Jones was sat, because at the time I remember Strummer was just slagging him off. He's terrible. He's a wanker. Blah blah blah. The stuff he's doing now is shit. It's absolutely awful. So Mick Jones leaves. He forms Big Audio Dynamite, and they're creating this fantastic music, in my opinion. The really clever use of samples and film dialogue and all the rest of it, and just they were just a cool band, And my theory on it is that either Strummer or Bernie Rhodes sort of knew about this and was hearing what was going on. We're trying to sort of make their own version of it. But unfortunately, like the samples on this album it's just pound shot rubbish, So whereas Big Audio Dynamite, I think just hit the nail on the head. I think they were superb. This album just falls flat, really.
What do you think of the gang vocals? Do they work for you?
You know what? It seems like they were having a load of fun. That seems like the best bit of it to me. All that like terrorist chanting stuff. I mean, that's you sort of get there's a germ of some good songs in there. They're just completely overwhelmed, and unfortunately, a song is not just a terrorist chant, is it? And that's what it is. Every song has got a terrorist chant running through it. Every one of them. Sometimes it works. I think We Are the Clash. This Is England. They're good tunes.
Jesus Christ, Simon. We are the Clash. Major key, major key, major key. We are the.
Could have been good tunes. If
Simon,
still in the band.
Yes. So I've been on a bit of a journey with this album.
Oh God, here you go.
It was all a bit scattergun, so I put this record on, listened to it all the way through. Then I went off on my explore into listening properly to the Clash's back catalogue. I realised actually that I had a copy of London Calling and a copy of Combat Rock, and possibly even a copy of Give 'Em Enough Rope, because one year I asked my mum and dad for 4 albums for Christmas instead of the usual whatever. and those were on the list. Those and Oof by Happy Flowers, because it amused me that my mum would have to go and ask for it in our price. And I obviously didn't connect with them at all. I mean, I don't think I played any of. I definitely had Combat Rock and London Calling, and I can't have played them more than once, and I sold them pretty quickly to Snoopy's in Boscombe. So I went back and listened to those records, and then came back to this again. And the second time I listened, I mean, the first thing I noticed, the same as everybody else, the production is fucking insane on it. Like, it's just all over the shop. And especially that, I mean, it's brilliant that they start the album with Dictator, which is probably the worst produced song of the lot. And that's quite a difficult one prize, because there is some really terrible production. Finger Popping is probably my second ranked for bizarre production. And then I came back and listened to it again, and I sort of concluded that it's basically just another Clash album. It's just that this time it's the same sort of thing as all the others. It's just a different arrangement style or a different sound style. Contrary to what you might think, Seb, I was quite into some of that. I mean, I was still, in 1985, I was young enough to still be listening to pop music. So those kind of snare drum sounds that they're using on here, it's a Lindrum probably, I guess. And those kind of slightly cliched percussion sounds and synth sounds. I had 7-inch singles that I bought that sounded like that. So I'm not averse to those sounds particularly. And then I listened to it one more time late at night and decided that actually it's probably their second best record.
Were you on drugs, Simon?
Well, I'm not prepared to discuss that in precision, but it was late at night,
Okay.
and it sounded a lot. All of a sudden, the crazy production made a lot of sense.
Okay.
And then I listened
Simon, that could be the fucking tweenies they make, isn't it?
No,
Get
it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. Anyway, let's move on. And then I listened to it again the next morning, and all the magic had disappeared, which has happened before. That happened with the Lee Perry one. So I tried it a second time late at night and realised that something must have gone wrong in my brain the first late at night, because it still sounded as terrible as it does during the day.
This is a real journey, Simon. You weren't joking. This is a proper journey.
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of time on my hands when I haven't been dicking about in the woods. So what I do think is that Dirty Punk is a great song. I really like Dirty Punk. It sounds like a sort of proto Ministry or something like that. And I quite like that. And the other track that I felt like I knew where I was with was Play to Win, which I also liked. Like I say, during the late at night moment, I think I had I couldn't connect with This Is England at any point, or Life Is Wild, or We Are the Clash. I was sort of like, do I like that? No, I don't like that. But I think at one point I quite enjoyed Are You Ready and Movers and Shakers. That was a mistake I discovered on further listening. And the last time I listened to it was this afternoon. And it's just tailed off ever since that one moment. I now am finding it just incomprehensible to listen to, and I'm slightly confused as to how I ever enjoyed any of it, except for Dirty Punk, which is a good song. What was interesting, after it finished, Spotify just picked something, you know how it picks a random thing? It picked Annalisa from the first Public Image album, and that just made it incredibly stark to me how much better the other punk bands were than the Clash. I mean, Annalisa is better than anything that the Clash have ever done, ever, and that's not the best track on not their best album. So yeah, I don't know, for some reason I wanted to like the Clash, but I don't, and I don't like this record, and I don't think I'll listen to it again. Apart from Dirty Punk, which obviously I'm going to have on permanent rotation.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a wonderful night. That one night where it all coalesced. Sounds, you know.
Well,
we could have all been there. We could have all been there and had that kind of moment. We should have recorded the pod there and then, shouldn't we?
No, because no, I would have been all wrong.
They'll dribble all over your chin.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Steve,
Um,
with your Clash playing, what did you think of the drum machine? I'm very interested to hear your sense of the musicality of this.
Well, I think what's made any sense of it for me is what Steve Hackett just said, which I don't know why I didn't see that myself, because I remember Big Audio Dynamite being on the tube for the first time, and the next week at college, everyone was banging on and on about it. So whatever you think of them now, whatever you laugh at them, but at that point, Big Audio Dynamite were very, very, very cool, and all the cool kids loved them, and it kind of, I didn't like them obviously, but everyone else seemed to. So that makes a bit of sense to me that they must have got wind of that and tried to do their own sort of. So it's kind of obvious where the musical talent in the Clash was.
So true.
Very difficult to see. The thing is, I was still laughing at Dictator through most of the album for the times that I listened to it. So it's quite difficult to get a handle on where I stand with it. Or I guess This Is England, when you strip everything away, was the one I enjoyed the most. I didn't get on, I just got bored of it gets a bit old, the football terrace chants Jesus Christ, there's, you're running out of ideas there, aren't you? So there's a little bit more sense made. They must have got wind of what Big Audio Dynamite and the effect that Big Audio Dynamite had on people at the time. In fact, I remember because what was quite funny was Big Audio Dynamite played the tube, and then what's her face? Paulie Yates at the end said, "Oh, there's been a poll of students, and the most listened to band at the moment is unfortunately not Big Audio Dynamite. It's Genesis." So. That made me. That's always stuck in my mind. But no, this isn't an album. Strangest album I think I'd stand by the fact that it's one of the strangest albums we've had. I won't be for all the wrong reasons, and I won't be listening to it again. And I can see why it kind of. And I don't agree. And I know, just having played a few Clash songs and been forced to kind of study them a bit, if for want of a better term. That's not too grandiose a term for doing rock and pop music. I don't think it's fair to say that that the stuff on the earlier albums is, because there is some well-crafted stuff on there, some well played, some well-crafted stuff, some good tunes that mean an awful lot to an awful lot of people who are that bit older than us, Simon, I would say. If you were there at the time when the Clash came through, it obviously, for whatever you think of them, whatever I think of them, they mean
100%. No, I totally agree, Steve. I can totally see in 1976 when there's no other, like, they were breaking new ground, and for me, they're at their best when they sound like the Damned. Like those the shouty stuff on the first album is when they're at their best, I think. Or apart maybe the reggae stuff as well.
I mean, it says a lot that apart from the songs that I've had to learn, it hasn't spurred me to go and listen to any Clash albums or anything like that. I've just learned what I've had to learn. I thought, oh, some of that's, And then it's just your own musical background and arrogance, thinking, well, I've never heard of these songs. What are we doing these for? And then when you play them, oh, look, there's a whole other world of people who absolutely live and die by these, and ask if we can do this song and that song the next time we play, wherever we played and stuff. So I mean. But this album, no. I just, as I say, I'm still, if I think about it, I start laughing. So it was quite entertaining on that level, I guess. But This Is England, probably the only vaguely decent song in here, in my opinion. Yeah.
With the gang vocals. We haven't mentioned the cover. What a fucking cover that is. Oh my God. In 1985, putting that on the cover. 85. Even fucking post-punk had gone by then. Do you know what I mean?
Well, so it's all just a bit misguided and misfounded, I guess. And,
Big Audio Dynamite at the time seemed to be pointing a way forward, whereas Strummer and all this get up and the imagery it was like 1978 down the King's Road or something. That's what they're ironic about.
Well, it's trying to be punk, dirty punk. We Are the Clash, trying to kind of like this is real punk. It's back. Real punk's back with Major Keys.
Well, I think wasn't We Are the Clash written in response to Jones launching a legal suit to try and stop them?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, that's showing him.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Wait, our defence rests, Your Honour. We are the Clash.
Yeah, I feel the same. I'm not a massive fan of the Clash. I think I don't like the first two records. I think they matured as a band, and it's tell cliche things. So I think London Calling and Sandinista are good band records. They spread out. They were doing more interesting things than punk. I like the dub reggae stuff. Works really well. They worked well as four people playing music, and this isn't four people playing music. This is Joe Strummer under the kind of the coercion of Bernie Rhodes just doing what he's told. And this isn't a Clash record. That's what this is. This is not a Clash record.
Yeah, that's very
so that's
yeah. He always wanted to be in a band, and he was quite a controlling character by all accounts. And this is where he finally got his his last shot at it, and fucked it up big time, I think.
Did anyone here see Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros, whatever they were called?
Yeah.
Were they good?
Was the drummer in his band, actually, Pablo Cook. So I saw them a couple of times, yeah, and they were good. They were a good band,
Did they do any Clash stuff, or was it all originals, or what?
Oh yeah, they did. They did some shitty sort of, I don't know. It's like a salsa version of maybe London Calling. I forget, but it was like a token thing. They really didn't. It was more, for want of a better term, world music. You know what I mean?
Oh, good.
And it was actually cool. It was really good, very different. I really enjoyed it. I like Strummer.
Is there not an issue with Strummer? I know authenticity is such a nebulous concept with regards to pop music, but was there not an issue because he was a posh public school educated?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? He was a posh public school hippie, like a lot of these guys. And Mick Jones was wasn't he the president of the Mott the Hoople fan club or something? I mean, these were old rockers, like a lot of those punks, like the Stranglers. Like a lot of these people, they hitched on a bandwagon. So you get this sort of merging with these bands where the first couple of albums, latch onto this and are like punk albums. Then by the third album, Black and White with the Stranglers, Almost Cons with the Jam, London Calling with the Clash, they suddenly become, the band that they sort of always were. The punk pretensions are sort of dropped, do you know what I mean? A lot of them were a lot older than they let on. And certainly with the Clash, yeah. Strummer was a hippie, I think.
He's a posh boy, and he's like, "All right, mate. All right, fucking it." It's just, Ross, sum up if you want. Otherwise, give me a number.
What amuses me somewhat is that that Strummer his outrage on this album is mostly reserved for the fact that because Rhodes quoted himself as producer under a pseudonym that was clearly a pseudonym, and Strummer found that everyone thought that that was him. I was like trying to run away from the album so much for claiming it wasn't me. It's I as said at the start, I really like the Clash. I play Clash records. I've got a soft spot for them. And I have actually no idea whether or not there were any decent songs, whether Strummer could actually write them, because it's just, there's just too much stuff. So I'm going to give it 1818.
Ross, your favourite song from the album as well, please don't forget.
That would be North and South.
That's the one Strummer doesn't sing on. The other guitar player, Nick Shepherd, sings on that. Thank you, Ross. Steve Hackett, a number and your favourite song, please.
Yeah, well, I am a massive Clash fan, absolutely massive Clash fan. So it was such a disappointing album when it came out. I do like This Is England. I agree with Simon. Dirty Punk's a good tune. I'm going to give it. What's it out of again? I ask this every week. 50 or 100?
100.
Right, 30. Best song is This Is England by a long way.
Simon.
Oddly, it didn't. I think I can't remember what was the album we talked about last week.
The Grateful Dead.
Right, which made me irrationally angry. This didn't make me angry. And there were lots of moments where I was flip-flopping between, actually, this is really good. No, this is terrible. But it is basically terrible. So I'll give it 20. And obviously you can guess which my favourite song is.
Just say it, I can't.
It's Dirty Punk. Although actually Ross, North and South was one of the three songs that I liked on it until this afternoon when I decided I didn't like that either.
Simon, you should do a bit of crystal meth and have another go just after we finish recording.
What makes you think that that's not happening right now? I've got it on in invisible earphones, and actually,
Yeah,
can I revise my score?
Don't open your mouth. Gibson, song.
Yeah. Thanks for the laugh. So I'll give it 15, and song will be "This Is England."
Okay. Yeah. I again the same as Ross. First time I heard it, I thought it was the worst I've ever heard. Atonal, palpy sense, major keys, all the gang vocals, which I disagree with you. I think they're absolutely awful, absolutely awful. But you listen to it on a speaker, it sounds a bit better, and it's quite charming. It's silly. It's a failure, isn't it? But it's a noble. It's not. It's it's a sort of 17. I'm going to give it. And my favourite song, which hasn't been mentioned, is Finger Poppin'.
It has been mentioned.
I thought I'd mention it again. Finger Poppin'. Just because, for fuck's sake, finger popping. Jesus Christ. Okay. Got my calculator here. So we have an 18 plus a 30. This is just going into the kind of general morass of shit pile, isn't it? Plus 20, which is where we all belong. Plus 15 plus 17 is 100. Oh, divided by 5. I think we know where this is going. 20. This gives us 20. So this gets 20 out of 100. Okay, where does that put us in the shit zone? So 20. This is a number. This is okay. Well, I'll just put this up to this is a draw. So this comes in at number equal 21st with Elvis Presley having fun with Elvis on stage. It's 0.4% ahead of Genesis calling all stations.
Well.
Pat Boone just ahead, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, 5% higher than the Beach Boys' "Summer in Paradise." I think this is quite similar. This reminded me of "Summer in Paradise" by the Beach Boys, all that kind of major.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, similar
sort of vibe.
Level.
We Are the Clash was reminded me of that song with the Baywatch song. With a bit of rapping. Same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Really?
So thanks everyone. That was Gibson. What are you gonna?
I've gone for an album by a megastar that I loathe. I won't waffle on about it too much because I'll tell you why I chose it next week. But it's "American Life" by Madonna.
Thanks everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe. Can someone say something about that?
Which one is it? What's the big single off it?
You'll have to look at. Well, that's all topics for the pod, I'm afraid. It's a fascinating period in history. It's a fascinating her take on what she was trying to do, and she didn't have the balls to do it. And
is this the one where she's dressed up as Che Guevara on the album cover?
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
I look forward to people giving their backstory of them and Madonna.
I was just thinking, Ross. Right, what we're not allowed to do. This is expressly banned, right? When you first masturbated over your first Madonna album cover when you were fucking 12 years old. Okay, that is not allowed, Simon.
Okay.
Although it's kind of inevitable, isn't it? Really. Right.
I'm sorry to shut everybody up, but there you go. Never mind.
We literally had 30 seconds of dead air. Brilliant.
Are any of these songs famous?
What?
I don't know. Can you just tell us what are they, Simon? I don't know. We're all just completely speechless.
Yeah. Well, can we just it's to be discussed on the next podcast?
Good choice. Good choice. By the time you had some pop music on it, out and out pop music.
Please, a comment. Simon, what was the single, Simon?
I don't know. Is it presumably Hollywood and American Life and Love Profusion? Because they've all got videos, I would guess.
Okay.
2003.
Okay. Oh, 2003. Okay. All right. Great.
All I say is to get why I chose this, you'll have to do a bit of research around the political time, what's happening politically at the time, and what people thought they were going to do artistically to respond to it and all that sort of thing. So,
Oh, sort of post 9/11 Iraq War sort of thing.
so that's what it's.
Ooh, saucy. On that note, thanks everyone. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve Hackett.
Cheers.
Thank you, Steve Gibson, for the
Thank
choice.
you.
Thanks, Joe Strummer, Bernie Rhodes. Thanks, everyone. Please subscribe or whatever. And good night.